Hi, and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to kit bash together a crab monster truck using this Hot Wheels car, this glorious sea crab, and parts from this solar robot kit. The best bits about this juicy crustacean are definitely the monster claws at the front and the mud flaps at the back. When I was researching crabs, I found out that there was such a thing as a true crab and everything else was a lower crab. I really had no idea that crabs had such a hierarchy. It's cold, so I've been watching a lot of films lately, some which are better than others, but mostly centered around giant monsters or giant machines. I couldn't resist making a hybrid of the two. These mud flaps will make great mud flaps, and this body will make the perfect armoured shell for the cockpit. Now I will harvest the solar robot's parts, find some good body pieces for the car. Here's where I eagerly glue a piece of the solar robot to the car and regret it immediately.
Earthquake!
I cut out the bottom of the crab so it could fit snugly on the body of the car and marked out where the windshield should be. The plastic was nice and soft, so I cut it out with a hobby knife. I'm sanding down the car before I try and stick anything to it, give the glue something to grab onto. I learnt this technique from Bill Making Stuff in his Mad Max Hot Wheels car tutorial. Use a lot of techniques from Bill Making Stuff's videos in this build. He builds a lot of rusty junk, and that's exactly what this truck is going to be. Now that the bumper bar is glued on, I'm going to add this piece of printer as like a front shovel bumper bar thing. I used some of the conical plastic from the super glue packaging to make the windshield. I stuck the plastic on with super glue, but I'm worried that it's going to make the clear plastic a bit frosty. I guess we'll find out later. For the body, I'm going to use this Solar Robot's shin piece. I've never used model kits to build stuff before, but I'm loving the symmetry of the pieces. These cassette tape cogs for the back wheels. And then I'll secure these big nasty crab claws to the front of the ramp. Some more Solar Robot kit for the top. After I glued down the cockpit, I realized that I want to have a driver that you can see through. So I chose the best driver I could find to trap inside the RUSTACEAN forever. If you watched my last video, I made a wheelie chair out of some parts from these 1/4-inch jack casing plastics. With the bits left over from cutting up the springy parts, I'm going to use these as the exhaust pipes. They have a great hexagonal texture, as well as these screw holder wall bracket things, doused in super glue. And there she is so far.
Wow.
I've secured the mud flaps, and it's starting to look like a true hybrid of crab and machine.
Ugh, it's hideous!
This bit of broken pen is the perfect exhaust pipe. I love the way it's cut off at the end. These tiny little crab claws that were in the model kit makes perfect extra detail. Off camera, I stuck another part of that orange pen onto the back to complete this set of exhaust pipes. Got some little horns that are actually Stegosaurus spikes from another little dinosaur toy. Got a couple of the points from cocktail sticks to put as spikes. And I'm going to put some wires. I assume there's some kind of wiring in this machine. Just twisting together two random wires, holding together with a bulldog clip, and just super gluing them together. Another little piece of Solar Robot for some extra detail. But no Mad Max vehicle is complete without terrifying wheel spikes. These like soy milk caps, I think they are. These look like great fearsome tire spikes. Give them a sand. To make the back exhaust pipe look less clean, I'm going to put this tiny bit of soft cardboard on the back to look like a repair job, like a little metal plate. Holding it on with rubber bands so that it dries in this perfect cylindrical shape. I cut up the legs, the top points of the legs of the crab to use as spikes along the front. And this small cylindrical part from a printer I smashed to pieces. I tried to stick some spikes in this other wheel. It was absolutely impossible to get them to stand up because of gravity, I guess. So instead I'm going to use these plastic plants I found on the ground outside my house. I'm just going to wedge them inside the cassette hubcaps and cut some little triangles at the points so they look like really fearsome spikes. I made some little extra bars of spikes that I can stick over the car. A little test drive. Now, I was thinking it was looking a little bit too cute, so I had a great idea to make some barbed wire that I could spring between the two front claws, make it look a bit more nasty. I figured out a good technique of getting 2 pieces of wire, and to make it quickly, you just had to twist the wire a few times around the first piece of wire and make a loop, and then keep twisting and make a loop until you've made a sequence of loops, and then just get your wire cutters and cut them down until they look like little perfect barbed wire shapes. You might have to squish them together to get the springs tight, the curls tighter with like some pliers or something. I found that I needed to do that, but here's the end result and I'm pretty happy with it.
That's hot.
I used some modelling paste to add some extra texture, and now the solar robot is complete. Better just cover this windshield up with a bit of blue tack, and now it's time to paint. Headed outside, I prime up the model with a grey primer and hang it out to dry. As you can see, I actually added some white primer and black primer to give like a 3-tone effect on the model. Here's some piles of junk that I made for a tabletop game that are basically the exact same colour scheme as what the crab is going to be. I was hoping the lighter primer would help bring out some of the lighter colours I'll be using, but mostly this crab truck is just going to be brown. I want to start by painting all of the different sections. The crab sections, I painted a nice crabby red. And the bottom section's just brown. So you're probably wondering by now the origins of the RUSTACEAN. I was talking to my partner and I decided that the RUSTACEAN was formed by a giant sentient crab discovering a car driving through its home. Subsequently ate the car and absorbed all of its technical powers, turning into a super crab that torments and devastates the land around it. My partner, on the other hand, said it's much more likely that people discovered the shells of these giant crabs of old and used their shells as superior armor to protect their own vehicles. Tell me in the comments below which origin story you believe to be the correct one, or if you've got one of your own, I'd love to hear it. After I painted the majority of the car brown, I'm going to highlight it with some raw sienna and some more raw sienna, effectively just light brown to highlight the dark brown. I'll speed through this so you don't have to watch. Now I'm going to touch up the tyres with some black paint, and using this Sonia's Mystery red gouache paint that I found in my cupboard, I'm going to mix it up with some bicarb soda to make some really deep dark rust, some sort of gritty blobs all over the place. I'm just going to dab off some of the excess. I've kind of gone a bit mad with rust. Does rust make you mad? I think I'm going to add like a silver dry brush. My silver paint's looking a bit thick. Now with a dry brush, I've gone over the metal parts to give it some dimension. I actually think this is looking quite good. Did a dry brushing of a light orange to make all the details in the crab pop, and I think it looks pretty good. Touched up the beady eyes. Taking off the blue tack to see what state the windscreen is in. Yeah, it's pretty cloudy, but in certain lights you can still see the driver inside.
Here I go!
I'm using a black wash all over to kind of simulate, oil spills and sludge, and it's looking pretty good. Add on this nasty barbed wire and I think it's ready for battle. Roll the beauty shots. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you like this build and you want to see more videos, make sure you like or subscribe.